Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm compiling some difficult interview questions for Salesforce test analyst. So let's questions that I have prepared for this video. So the first question is, how would you approach testing a complex Salesforce integration? So let's understand that difficulty in this question. It tests your understanding of integrations and end-to-end testing. So how you can answer this question? So always discuss your strategy for testing APIs, data flow, and system interaction, and the tools that you have used for testing integration like Postman, SOAP UI, or automation framework. So example that I have quoted here, I would start by understanding the integration requirement and data flow, and I would design test cases to validate API calls, response formats, and error handling. For example, during Salesforce to ERP integration, I use Postman to validate API endpoints and perform end-to-end testing to ensure data consistency. Let's move on to the next question. Number two, how do you handle testing Salesforce features like flows, validation rules, and triggers? So, why it is difficult? It requires deep functional knowledge of Salesforce features like validation rules, triggers, and flows. And to answer this question, highlight your testing strategy for each feature, explain how you will identify and report issue. So, for example, you can say like this: I test flows by creating different scenarios to ensure they work as intended, including error handling. And for validation rules, you can say that I use both positive and negative test cases to confirm data restrictions. When testing triggers, I validate that the automation works for a single and bulk records and ensuring no governor limits are exceeding. So that's how you can answer this question. And number three, how would you ensure test coverage for Salesforce customization? So why it is difficult? It tests your ability to plan comprehensive testing. To answer this, mention tools like test scripts, regression testing, automation, emphasize collaboration with developers and business users. So, example, you can say like this: I ensure coverage by reviewing customization requirements and mapping them to test cases. So, I focus on functional regression and negative testing. For example, I collaborated with developers to test a custom opportunity approval process using test data for every possible path. What tools do you use for Salesforce testing and how do you decide which one to use? So this question evaluates your tool knowledge and decision making process. So to answer this question, you can mention tools like Selenium, Prover, or Cucumber for automation and Jira for test management. So you can say like this: I use Prover for Salesforce specific automation as it integrates well with Salesforce objects. For performance testing, I use JMeter, and for bug tracking, Jira. The choice depends on the complexity of the test cases and the need for automation. Number five, can you explain a challenging Salesforce bug you found and resolved? So this question tests your problem solving skills and attention to detail. So, uh, so to answer this question, always use STAR method. So that stands for situation, task, action, and result. Example, while testing a custom code calculator, I noticed incorrect calculations for bulk discounts. I traced the issue to a formula field that did not account for decimal rounding. After discussing with the developer, we updated the logic. I retested to confirm accurate calculations. Number six, how do you handle frequent Salesforce updates and ensure regression testing is effective? So this question evaluates your ability to manage Salesforce regular release cycles. You can discuss how you stay updated on release notes and test proactively. So as sample answer, I review Salesforce release notes and identify changes affecting our org, and I update existing test cases and prioritize regression testing for critical features. For example, I validated dynamic forms functionality in Sandbox before enabling it in production. Number 7, how do you test Salesforce reports and dashboards? Why it is difficult? It requires an understanding of both functional and data accuracy. So to answer this question, discuss how you test filters, grouping, and data accuracy. So simple answer, I test reports by verifying data accuracy against the database, ensuring filters and grouping work correctly. For example, I validated a sales performance dashboard by cross-referencing pipeline data with opportunities. How do you manage test data in Salesforce? So this question evaluates your knowledge of Salesforce data handling and limitations. So to answer this question, you can discuss how you use tools like data loader or sandbox template. For example, I use data loader to import or export test data and anonymize sensitive information. In sandboxes, I refresh data regularly and use templates to ensure test environment mimic production closely. Number 9, how would you handle a failed automation script during a Salesforce release? It tests your troubleshooting skills and adaptability. To answer this question, explain your process for debugging and prioritizing fixes. Um, Sample answer, if a script fails, I debug it by checking error logs and reviewing recent changes. I prioritize fixing high impact script first. For example, a script validating lead conversion broke after a release. I updated the X path for the changed field and reran the script. What is your approach to a UAT in Salesforce projects? So UAT stands for user acceptance testing. So this tests your ability to collaborate with stakeholders and at the same time you are ensuring quality. So how you can answer this question? You have to highlight planning, execution, and feedback collection. So sample answer, I involve stakeholders early to define UAT scenarios. During UAT, I guide users through test cases, document feedback, address issues promptly. For instance, during a service cloud rollout, I ensured UAT script should cover key customer support scenarios leading to a smooth go live scenario. So number 11, how do you test Salesforce permissions and security settings? So this question requires attention to detail and understanding of Salesforce security model. So when you are answering this question, you need to talk about testing profiles, permission sets, and sharing rules. Sample answer, I test permissions by creating test users with different roles and profiles. I verify that access to objects, fields, records are aligned with the requirement. For example, I tested sharing rules for a private opportunity model, ensuring only relevant user could view sensitive data. Number 12, what is your strategy for performance testing in Salesforce? So it tests your knowledge of Salesforce limits and performance optimization. Mention techniques like bulk data testing and testing for SOQL optimization. So sample answer, I focus on testing bulk operation and large data sets to identify performance bottlenecks. For example, I use test scripts to simulate high volume data uploads and optimize the process by reducing unnecessary triggers and workflows. How do you handle testing in multi-tenant environment, Salesforce org, example, production sandbox, or other sandboxes as well. Why it is difficult? It requires managing different testing environments efficiently. So when you are answering this question, discuss sandbox use, deployment plans, data consistency. Example, I perform testing in a developer sandbox and validate integration in full sandbox before moving to production. I ensure consistent test data and use a deployment checklist to prevent errors. Number 14, how do you ensure that automation scripts are maintainable? So it evaluates your scripting knowledge and long-term planning. To answer this question, mention practice like modular scripts, version control, documentation. So example, you can use I create modular scripts with the reusable components and maintain them in version control systems like Git. I also document each script, ensuring new team members can update them without difficulty. So that is the last question in this question set. How do you handle incomplete, ambiguous requirement during testing? So this question tests your ability to handle uncertainty and collaborate with stakeholders. So to answer this question, you need to emphasize communication skills and adaptability. So simple answer that you can use, I clarify requirements by collaborating with stakeholders and documenting assumptions. If ambiguity remains, I create exploratory test cases to cover possible scenarios. For example, I work closely with product owner to finalize test cases for a custom CPQ model. So that concludes the scenario-based question, and also that you can say that complex question that you can expect in Salesforce testing role. Let me know if you want to know uh, on any topic and you more clarity. I'll be happy to answer your question. And thanks for connecting with me. I'll catch you up in my next video.